Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
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 Good day and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. My name is Phillip Sydney. Before I continue, I would like to wish our farmers, our fishers, our agro-processors, our workers on the farm, and of course the technical staff of the Department of Agriculture a Happy New Year. We are in the second month of the year, but we are still early. So I want to wish you all well. It's going to be challenging this year. So just keep close to your technical staff in the ministry and all is going to be okay. Just work with us and do what you're supposed to do technically. Today I have a special guest with me. It's long overdue. He's a big guy with a big heart. But of course, that big heart is not negative. It means that he helps young people, young entrepreneurs. If you have an idea, he will work with you to ensure that you achieve that goal. He's Mr. Giles Romulus, who is the National Coordinator for Global Environment Facility, GEF, Small Grants Program, UNDP. Welcome to the program, sir.
Philip, thank you for inviting me to the program. It has been a long time.
A long time,
me, and I'm happy it's coming to fruition. And
I think it's opportune because I think everything, last year, culminated with what we will talk about, as we continue, knowledge fair. So I think it's opportune. So you can go back now and review.
Yeah, and I have to ask you for forgiveness as well.
Yes.
Many times I let you down.
Correct, yes.
And let me add my Happy New Year to the people of St. Lucia, the government and people of St. Lucia on behalf of the UN, the GEF program. We are pleased to be working in St. Lucia with the people of St. Lucia, and we hope that this year we will be able to invest even more in St. Lucia.
Definitely.
And thanks again for inviting us to this program.
Well, let's continue. Tell us, there are lots of St. Lucians who they're hearing about GEF.
Yes.
Tell St. Lucians where was that conceptualized? What year, and your mission statements?
Well, this Solution program is part of a global program in 125 countries. So if you go to Trinidad, or you go to Sierra Leone, or you go to South Africa, or even to China, and Honduras, and Brazil, you'll find similar programs.
Okay.
The whole GEF program came about at the Earth Summit in 1992. In Brazil, if you recall that famous big global meeting that was held in Brazil. Out of that came the largest multilateral donor program for the environment. And that is where the conventions such as Biodiversity Convention, Climate Change Convention, Land Degradation Conventions came out. Okay. And the GEF was set up as the funding mechanism for those conventions. Okay. Since then, the GEF has also brought on board the POPs, persistent organic pollutants. There's an international convention for that as well. A lot of multilateral agreements have come about. So the GEF is global. It's until the Green Fund was established about a year or so ago, it was the largest multilateral donor grant facility for environmental and sustainable development programs. Now it's the second, but it's ambit, its width of projects. It funds all over the world, and the Small Grants Program came out of this funding mechanism. So almost every country in the world, small island developing state, developing country has a similar program. What do? We focus on addressing global environmental problems at the community level. In other words, the governments have their funding sources, the private sector have their funding sources, civil society, until 1992, didn't have a dedicated pot of global funds to access. And therefore, what we do, we focus on things like alternative energy at the community level. You mentioned agro-processing, sustainable agriculture, climate-smart agriculture. We want to reduce poisonous chemicals, toxic chemicals in the food chain.
Correct.
We see the increasing incidence of cancer in small island
using
developing
the harsh
states.
chemicals.
Oh my God!
Yes.
And you know the financial burden of suffering from cancer.
Definitely.
My mom suffered from cancer, and if I tell you the story, what it did to our financial resources was significant, and so on. We are looking at our water quality, both the water we drink and our recreational water quality, and so on, air pollution, those kinds of things. So the GEF has quite a broad mandate. But importantly, Philip, is we're not only focusing on the environment, but we want to reduce poverty as well.
Yes.
And therefore, the livelihoods that come out of that, and which was exemplified at the Knowledge Fair, is important to us. We want to reduce poverty, create new income streams for marginalized society and communities around the world. And even more importantly, build capacity.
Yes.
Capacity to do research and innovation, capacity to reflect, capacity to build up a business-oriented program that can be sustainable over time. So this is essentially the three objectives: environmental sustainability, poverty reduction, and capacity development. These are the three objectives. And we work in the various countries. We have grant funding, and we have, a store of us in the St. Lucia office. Currently, we were established in St. Lucia as a separate country program. Until 2012, St. Lucia was part of a sub-regional program, which actually I had the honor of managing out at Barbados office for about 10 years. And then the Caribbean countries wanted separate country programs. So from about 2011 to 2012, we transitioned the sub-regional program to separate country programs. Since then, we have funded about 84 projects in St. Lucia, about 15.2 million Eastern Caribbean dollars of total investment in St. Lucia. And the point, Philip, is that we have the funds to invest. We need good ideas. Most importantly for St. Lucia, we fund the projects through established civil society organizations.
Groups.
So we cannot fund individuals, the private sector, or the government directly. But we can fund them through partnerships that are creative partnerships, smart partnerships, that bring about benefits at the community level and, by extension, the national level as well.
Tell us some of the projects that you have funded in St. Lucia.
Oh, all over the country.
I know.
All over the country. 84 projects. Some of the well-known ones.
Biodiversity.
Yes, protection of our endemic species.
Right.
The National Trust has just finished a project on our endemic fordellas. A lot of people, you might remember the past Minister of Sustainable Development was talking about the potential health benefits of the venom.
Correct.
So we've just finished a project on that because it's endemic. It's found only in St. Lucia. We have done projects in the mangrove in Vieux-Fort and in the Point Sab Environmental Protection Area. We have done projects, the first mobile desalinator.
Which will come to in a while. But hold that point because we do for our first break.
Okay.
You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
For effective chemical treatment of black sigatoka, practice routine preventative maintenance of all tools and equipment, especially the mist blower, to ensure proper functioning. Clean sprayer after use and service the machine regularly as recommended by the manufacturer. Whenever you are using pesticides to control black sigatoka disease, personal protection and safety measures must be followed. Spray operators must always wear proper protective gear. Before or when handling pesticides, put on your overalls, respirator, goggles, boots, and gloves to avoid contact with the skin, inhalation, and ingestion of pesticides.
For more information on how to treat and control black sigatoka on your farm or in your backyard garden, contact the Black Sigatoka Management Unit at 451-5491, 451-5894, or email bpmu@candw.lc. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with the International Cooperation and Development Fund of the Republic of China on Taiwan.
Welcome to the program. Giles, we were talking about the various projects that you have funded in St. Lucia. Could you continue to elucidate on that and to tell us exactly, the funding, the cost of any project?
Okay, we have three levels of funding. The first is what we call a planning grant, where people can access to design the project, do the relevant pre-project studies, and that's up to 5,000 US. Okay. Then we have what we call the full grant for 50,000 US, and then above that we have what is called a project, special project window, a strategic project window for upskilling project, and that goes to 150,000 US. Okay. So 3 levels of projects. But importantly, Philip, for every $1 we invest, we work with our grantees to attract another $1 US, of which 50 cents is going to be in kind and 50 cents in cash. So sometimes our projects, let's assume we fund a project for $150,000 US, it may end up being almost double that. Okay, $300,000 US. Now, by a small island developing state context, that's significant. That's almost $1 million US of investment, and so on. And we do our best to quantify the in-kind contributions by our people around, our farmers, our organizations, and so on. In terms of other projects, for example, in Buto, we've brought in rainwater harvesting systems for 32 households in Buto. In Labrie, we have contributed to make the village a resilient community. We have funded projects in the marine environment there. We have done the first planning study, physical planning study there for them. The Desal project, which is your famous project, and so on. In the heights of Beaufort North, we've done projects with the women in organic farming. In Prala, we've done projects with the Simos farmers. In Monripo, we have done projects with the Superior Brooms. Right now in Laguerre, in Babono, in the constituency of your minister, we are doing a revolutionary project on using integrated computer techniques that will in greenhouses. We have a project for the St. Lucia Coalition of Services with 2 young men, Jade Hutchinson and Keegan Mayers, and that, when it is launched, is going to revolutionize agriculture in St. Lucia. So we are the cutting edge in many respects, funding ideas that may have a probability of failure, but also a high probability of success. Definitely. So we are taking those risks upfront, and when they become mature and when they begin have the possibility of upskilling, we also want to draw other donors into the foray as well. Great. So projects all over.
Out of the something projects that you were already formally in St. Lucia, tell me some of those, at least 3 or 4 of those that you see that's outstanding in your mind.
The projects that have given St. Lucia a lot of international recognition, the project of the St. Lucia Fisher Folk Association and Algas Organics, with this young man, that the research he had to go through to come up with the concoction. The tonic.
The fertilizer and
tonic,
also the pesticide.
And what we were able to do is to fund the testing, early testing of the chemical by an independent laboratory in Trinidad and Tobago, and so on, and guided him and mentored him through the early process, the incubation period, so to speak, and so on. And now, yesterday, I contacted you saying he's perhaps the first solution to be written about in Forbes magazine. The Forbes magazine is where you find Bill Gates and all of those fellas, and he has won international awards. So that is a very good project. It's given St. Lucia a lot of its good reputation. The Desal project is a very, very good one.
That one is another one.
Mean, it has a human interest project, interest story there that is fascinating for young St. Lucians growing up. And I just checked with our colleagues in Labrie last week. The second generation has been exported to the Pacific island of Nauru, and so on.
And I heard Antigua is in also.
Yes, the Minister of Agriculture of Antigua and the Director General of the OECS visited the project site in Labrie and was fascinated by the technology. And what is fascinating about that is that every generation is smaller. Mr. Carlos he's informing me that the third generation is going to be even smaller than the one that was exported to Nauru. So we have. One of the lessons there is that we have young people around St. Lucia that we have to recognize. We have to pull them out of the shadows into the limelight and support them, mentor them, give them the financial resources so that ideas can be, be brought to fruition and so on. So, Philip, it's very difficult for me to tell you which project, but we say all our grantees are potentially our children. And we have to give them the relevant amount of mentoring and resources that are required. And also we have the support of a voluntary National Steering Committee led by Dr. Barbara Graham and people like Everestus Jamari, Ember Charles, Dame Paulette Rizzi, Anita James, who used to work with you all, and so on. A number of volunteers who give of the time free of charge.
Very good, very
and
good.
that is a mechanism for which they give back to St. Lucia in a measurable and significant way.
The two you mentioned, I have a number 3, which is our aquaponics.
Ah, yes.
That's
well, I was thinking that for the last.
Mr. Alphonse,
Jameson,
James in Choiset, in Boisden, Choiset. And I'm looking forward because I met him yesterday and he was talking about great things to come. For us to go down there on a Friday evening and to enjoy, the products that he's doing. And the thing about it's organic.
100% organic. And the important thing about Jameson is that Jameson started on his own. He had an idea, he thought about it, he started. And then he joined the St. Lucia Agricultural Forum for Youth, which is an adoption. And then we came on board and said, okay, how can we reduce your cost of production? Because that's important. Cost of production, as you know, is an important variable in the whole business. And therefore, we solarized the system for him.
Wow.
Now, you can imagine aquaponics can be very energy intensive.
It is.
Because, and imagine you're running that off Lucilec power, and we have one of the highest costs of electricity in the Caribbean.
The profit is going there.
It might disappear as well.
So
recently, we were very happy to invest in the solarization, but also certain improvements is being done to the entire system, and he's going to begin to invite guests. In fact, my family, we were the guinea pigs last year, where he was able to create a dish. And we must talk about that dish because a lot of
we will
out of tilapia and lettuce.
Yes.
And his sister brought out a concoction that is heavenly.
Wow.
I mean, I couldn't believe. And that is part of research and innovation.
Exactly.
I have argued, Philip, that the first biochemist I knew was not in the laboratories of the A-level college or where I went to university. It was in the kitchen. My grandmother. When you take some shadow benny and you put garlic in it and you put some turmeric, you're creating a reaction. You're getting a chemical reaction. And that is why we have to start to tell our people chemistry and physics, it's in our ordinary daily life.
Try our thing.
And try a thing. Try it. Don't kill yourself, but try a thing.
You don't know how far it will go, eh?
A gentleman came to my office towards the end of last year. He told me for the last 10 years he's been experimenting with glycida.
Wow.
Now, remember glycida used to be used for shampoos.
They used to bathe me in this thing, I remember clearly.
Before all the different spas came to St. Lucia. And he has c'est ça. And he has this thicker concoction, he tells me, and he's been experimenting with it on his family. And it tells me it builds your immune system. People who get the flu within a day or so, they take that.
Hold that point. Another break.
Okay.
Stand by. We'll be back.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Welcome back. Giles, boy, we're moving fast and furious,
Indeed.
We are in our final segment, and I cannot not talk about the knowledge fair. In other words, after putting all of this over the years, you wanted to show St. Lucia, hey, this is what we have been doing. Tell us about the knowledge fair.
Well, I want to thank you for helping us as well. You are major. And thank your minister who supported the idea when we first approached him early last year about it.
Correct.
In fact, he was the first person with the head of ICA, Mr. King.
Yes.
In fact, we approached him and he was very supportive of it. And then your PS was supportive of it as well. Essentially, Sydney, what we are trying to do is to say we have all these projects around St. Lucia. St. Lucians are not aware of it. And how can we bring it to their attention? But we wanted to do it in a way that was comprehensive. So we designed a knowledge fair, which is a mechanism we use within the UN to communicate ideas, new ideas to people. This knowledge fair the theme was From the Soil and Water to the Palate, a Healthy Journey. Mm-hmm. And what we did was to design it in four segments, four important segments. The first was the elaborate exhibition of almost 50 booths at the William Pitt Boulevard on the 10th and 11th of December, where we had all projects. So that is where people would go and see, smell, eat, buy. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit about the eating in a while. Yes. At the Parliament of St. Lucia, we got the permission of the Speaker of the House, and we had a one-day session where we had representatives from the medical fraternity, we had lawyers, we had farmers, we had fishers, we had the youth, we had a number of persons, people suffering from cancer. They spoke about the issue or the increasing issue of cancer and its relationship to the environment. And out of that came the Castries Declaration, which is still online, by the way, Philip, for people to sign. Wow. The last time I checked, it was about 2,500 signatures. People can go to change.org and put Castries Declaration in and still ask the people in the diaspora to sign on, because we're trying to get as many signatures as possible. Correct. Okay, so that was an output of the Parliament. The second day, which was the 11th, at the City Hall, we had 9 experts speak to different topics. That was very interesting. Oh, very interesting. We had Dr. Murray from St. Vincent. We had Miss Chin, who is a world famous on cancer and post-cancer treatment. We had Mr. Destang from the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association speaking, and so on. We now have the videos already now, and we're going to package them and put them out on YouTube. And we are in negotiation with HTS to do a series of 9-week programs on that, and so on. So the idea was you would see, you would talk, you would listen, you would gain knowledge, but you'd also eat as well. And while that is happening, we would have music on the stage. And that is why, precisely. St. Lucian indigenous music. Bohingson and Friends, Bo composed a song especially for that. Yes. And we had some Abagoj music and so on. So we wanted to have a holistic experience over 2 days. And the evaluation has just come out. Wow. Mr. St. Catherine just did the evaluation. It's going to be sent out to the government agencies very soon. For the exhibition, in excess of 94% of the visitors thought it was an excellent idea. Yes. Oh, yes. And totally as well. The Castries, the parliamentary session was an excellent idea. I would not tell you some of the comments they made, but it's documented in the evaluation. And the Technox was also thought to be a very good idea. Very good idea. People have asked us to repeat it, but the cost of repeating it is an issue. But we also, as I'm here, must also thank the mayor of Castries. Yes, he was very supportive. From the time I went to the mayor and asked him for support, he gave us a lot of support, in kind and cash contributions as well. Not in the direct transfer of money, but the fact that the tents belong, that's very costly, and the electricity as well. I think we're going to repeat it in the future. Maybe not every year, but maybe every 2 years, and allow our bank of projects to increase from 84 maybe to 184, and the next time we have a bigger activity. Correct. But it's gone international as well, and we hope we continue to produce a lot of knowledge events out of the body of information that has emerged. Importantly as well, we've been funding projects like RISE, St. Lucia, the Green Revolution. I think in our country we should not allow ourselves to reach the point where we are faced with a brick wall. You know, the international community is moving towards organic. We in St. Lucia must start to experiment with organic. It is not when the hurricane is over your house, you say, hey, Philip, so you have to plan, the forward planning, and we are funding a number of projects to begin to learn the lessons. Can we go organic? Some people think not. I think we can. I think if we bring the correct technology, if we bring the correct amount of knowledge, the correct amount of assistance over a period of time, we can do that transition. And we have, I mean, aquaponics is just one example. We have a biostimulant that is ready coming out of Algas Organics. How many more can we produce in St. Lucia? So in the next 15 years or so, we would not have been caught with our pants down.
I know what's
Just
interesting.
Too frequently. Yeah.
What's interesting is the young people that are gravitating to this.
Yes.
And that is what I believe we need now. Because the old farmers are going. So high-tech agriculture, we need that. So I'm happy you have taken that initiative and move it forward.
Well, we are here to help solutions, and we are making an appeal to young people as well. Get yourselves into groups, come to speak with us. And I also want to, at this point, to compliment the government of St. Lucia for announcing the planning for a decade of research and innovation.
Right, right.
And when the government makes a formal announcement, in fact, we just received an invitation yesterday to the planning workshop on that. I think we'll be very supportive of that. Our res rep, who represents the Secretary General of the UN, at the opening ceremony, publicly articulated our support for this venture. Okay. And we hope that this research and innovation period will start to get us to rethink. Yes. It is not so much UOD. Right. It is asking the questions why this works this way. How can we do it better? Correct. How can we improve? And so on, and getting our young people, our middle-aged people to get into the scientific mode of thought, which is required to combat climate change. Correct. And so on. So yes, definitely. I think there are a number of really, really positive signs emerging from this program and other programs in St. Lucia, and we were looking forward with great expectations to the results in the future.
Before you end, just reiterate, tell St. Lucians the criteria of getting funding for any new projects that they have, and any idea that they have.
Okay, give us a call. First thing, before you even put pen to paper, or you begin to call us and tell us what your idea, what your concept of an idea is. Because what could happen, Philip, is that you may come up with a concept and you don't think it can work. But because of our experience, we can say, right, if you combine that concept this way, it will be funded. Beautiful. And once you have done that, then the first step would be a project concept. And that goes to our board for review and a decision. And then at that stage, we determine if you need a planning grant to develop the idea more, to flesh it out more, to do a business plan, to do technical studies, and so on. And then the next step is the full grant. And then if your project really has potential, there is the option of upscaling.
Great. Final words in 2 seconds.
Let us promote a new kind of agriculture, a sustainable form of agriculture, climate-smart agriculture that integrates modern technology into it. Let us support our young people. Let us support that decade of research and innovation. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the funding to do a lot of innovative things. Call us at the Jeff Small Grants office in Sanssouci, and we'll be delighted to come and speak with you. Great. And we work all the time, Sydney. Yes. We work on weekends, we work on holidays, because we know there is a huge need. And in order to make St. Lucia more resilient, we have to be responsive when the communities need us.
Giles, thanks very much, man, for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Giles Romulus.
Thank you very much.
Look forward again, contact him, you have an idea, go forward. Remember, agriculture is our business, and eat fresh. St. Lucia's best. I'm Phillip Sydney saying goodbye.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.